But dude, yeah,
No. So, like, I don't know if you want to do that one first or you want to do the other thing I messaged you about first. But, like, I swear, you and me have talked about that before. Like saying, "Hey, doesn't this seem small?" And one of us was like, "Yeah, it's probably because we had this whenever we were little kids." And another thing we've mentioned this a lot with is the molten lava chocolate cake at
dude,
Chili's.
they're small. They're like half the size,
Okay,
and
but there's
that
two
is
things now.
legit.
They have a mini one, and then they have a regular sized one. But I still feel like the regular sized one is a little smaller than what it used to be
Hell yeah, it is. It's
about
way smaller.
5 hold on, about 15 years ago.
15 years. That's a long time, bro. I was 10. I
Yeah,
was
I know, because
older
that's
than that, and they were still bigger. I'm pretty sure.
no, I know that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure they're bigger than they are now 15 years ago. Because like I remember, like that's the thing me and my parents would always get from Chili's, is that thing at the very end.
Yeah, man, we were about that. We would always. My mom loved getting it. I loved getting it. We would always get it. It
Yeah,
was way. You could feed 3 people with that thing easy for dessert.
yeah,
Now it's like two. Like me and my mom just like devour it normally.
yeah. Like I sort of got it. I think it's smaller now than what it's smaller than it was 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so which one do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the shrinkflation, or do you want to talk about the other one first?
The one that we watched the video, shrinkflation. We're
Okay,
already on rant mode for that one.
okay. So if you guys haven't watched the video, I'm gonna make sure I link it down below. But it's a video by MadPad that runs game theory, film theory, and food theory. This one, of course, is on food theory. It is basically talking about shrinkflation and how basically it's not just you, and it's not just like that we've gotten older and we're getting bigger. Stuff is actually getting small.
Yeah,
And it's like the way they do it on a lot of stuff. I'm like, that is and sneaky and underhanded. And I knew something like that was going on because, like, I swear, like, I knew it wasn't me that was just like, oh, this is getting smaller. This kind of like proves that shit is getting smaller now.
So, actual definition from Wikipedia: shrinkflation is a rise in the general price level of goods per unit of weight or volume, brought about by a reduction in the weight or size of the items sold. So, long
So,
story short,
in layman's terms, you can be you can have difference between the soda this year and last year, and maybe that this year it's 0.3 ounces lighter, but it still costs the same as it did last year. So you're basically
exactly.
still paying for the same price as it was a couple of years ago when they had more, but you're getting less out for your money.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically
Exactly.
a good layman's term, right?
That's it right there. The bags are getting smaller. The price is still the same. And so, yeah, y'all should check that video out because that's really eye opening. We've already mentioned that kind of thing to ourselves before. Like, man, I swear this was different.
Like the thing they
And
mentioned was that thing that comes out on Easter a lot, the chocolate egg
Cadbury
thing.
egg,
Huh?
Cadbury egg,
Yeah.
Cadbury
Yeah,
egg.
that was it. And actually funny, it's like the guy that because it was on the late night talk, it was like on Truman Live or late time something, whatever. Some of those late night talk shows.
Yeah,
If I can find the clip, I'll post it in the video down below. But I think it was Andy from The Office. I
that's
think
not
it
Andy.
was.
That's the other guy.
Who was
Andy
it?
is the tall guy. I don't know his name, but he's the one that becomes, for those of you who know The Office, the one that becomes like the manager of the regional manager or something other. I don't know.
It
And he grows
wasn't
like five.
Dwight.
No, not Dwight. Dwight has never been the manager.
At
That
the
young
very end of
dude.
the show, he does.
Well, I didn't see the last 2 episodes. I mean seasons.
Uh, but Andy does become manager for a while.
But it's not Andy. I know exactly who Andy is.
Okay, but anyway, one of the what the I never seen that before. Oh well. Anyway, it's somebody from the show that becomes the manager. At least I'm pretty sure it's from The Office. Anyway,
It
they
is.
bring like 2 eggs from 2 different years, one from like recent, one from like I think it was 5 or 6 years ago. And he's like, "Look, these are smaller now."
I
And
got
like,
it. It's Ryan Howard, which
oh,
is
oh yeah, I
DJ
remember who it is.
Novak.
It was the guy that went on drugs and all that on the TV show and all
Yes.
that, and like was like for some reason, Michael was really, really into him. They never really explained that.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to finish last two seasons, but yeah, he did. I know when he got on the drugs and everything else like that. But he's a good character. So yeah, he brings two eggs onto like the night show or whatever, and he's like, "All right, so I got one egg, and so he was thinking it was smaller or something. So he went to like the website, and the website says it has not gotten smaller. You've gotten bigger." So he finds because he gets them every year. He says so. He finds an old one in like the pantry, and then he brings them to the show and he shows them, and one's like this and then one's like this, like that little bit of difference bigger, and literally you could see it. And then after all this debacle showed up and everyone was talking about it, Cadbury went and changed. I don't know the name of the company that holds them, but they went to the website and they took that off and they changed it to something else. And they pretty much, like, in terms of misleading, instead of just saying what's going on, they're just like, well, in certain markets customers like smaller candies, so to adapt to those markets we've changed the size.
Translation: we got caught red-handing while making some BS up.
Yeah. And so essentially what's going on with shrinkflation is just the slow adaptation of all these products that we're used to, like getting, Nestle and reduced its after eight mint chocolate thin box from 200 grams to 170 grams, or, you know, Teatley. I don't know. Teatley. Tea bags sold in boxes at 88 instead of 100. Slow progressions to, instead of either raising the cost of the item or reducing the size to keep it the same cost, they reduced the size so people don't realize it, instead of thinking, oh, this cost, instead of it got more expensive, I'm going to buy something else. So they reduce the size of it and you don't notice.
And they
Over the
do it
years, it gets
just
smaller.
enough for you not to raise a finger unless you look at it long term.
It's always real small, like, 5% here, 7%, 10%. Toblerone went a little too far, like you can see in the video. Toblerone did what was it, a 20% reduction?
20, 25, something like that.
I think it was 25. It was like it was a big number, like a fourth of its size.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, man, when it mentioned that, I was young and I thought, what happened with this? There was all these points and now there's not as many of them. And the bar wasn't as big. And so they added more gaps between the bar and to reduce the size, and everyone like was mad about it, and it was so easy to notice because it's nowhere near the same looking on that kind of product the way they did it, and they actually changed it back 2 years later.
Oh, and don't also forget, I can't remember what company it was, but they were diluting the product by adding water to it, and then increasing the bottle size, but diluting it by adding water to it.
Yeah, water was like the not the first ingredient, and it was 60 calories per serving. It was one of these pasta sauces, and these companies that make them. And then literally the bottle gets bigger and it gets less calories per serving, and there's less servings in the whole bottle. And water is now the first ingredient instead of tomatoes in pasta sauce.
Because if I remember correctly, the way they order the stuff on the bottle of ingredients is by which one has by order of quantity, I think.
Which one's the most? So if it's more water than anything else, water comes first.
And also, hold on, actually, perfect. I have a water bottle right here. So actually, the way that is, they also talk about this. Oh, MadPad does in the video. The way they design, or the package stuff is also to do it like I see some companies, they've been adding indents at the bottom of water bottles and slowly making them bigger, which in turn you may think nothing of it, but it's actually to reduce how much the water bottle can hold. Because think about this. It just slowly gets bigger and bigger in indents and goes farther in the bottle. You're taking up that real estate in the bottle to have room for that soda, for the water, for etc., etc.
And all those little grooves on it, that looks really cool. It probably makes it hold 7% less water.
And also, don't be fooled if something is taller, because you got to see how wide it is too. Because they can make something taller, but narrow it down to make it look like you have more, but they're actually screwing you over.
And the part where they can't lie to you about it is in the the nutrition labels and the ounces.
Yeah.
And so they catch them. These people who are looking out for this, they catch them, and because they look at the ounces, like it talked about having Cinnamon Toast Crunch in that video. The old family size box was bigger, wider and a little shorter, and they made a new family size box, new size, same great stuff, and it's taller but skinnier and weighs less by 20, 30 grams or something.
And I do like what they did say in the thing is like, there's a subreddit. If I can find the subreddit too before this goes live, I'll also post the subreddit down below. But like, this is something that people got to look out for. And if you see anything, call the company out on social media. If it gets enough traction, it will affect them. And you actually would think that actually has happened more than you actually do think.
Toblerone is one example there.
I was gonna say another one is Sonic. It's not the same concept, but everybody blasted them on social media for the way Sonic was looked, and they
What
had to
happened?
delay the movie to redesign it.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god, that was crazy. Exactly. I mean, because the whole point is at the end is to get to the consumer. If the consumer doesn't want it, they have to change something.
Yeah,
And so the movie was so outrageous, they were like, okay, we got to change this. We're pissing everybody
but I
off.
do have a theory that may have been intentional just to get media coverage.
And at the same time, if it was genius marketing, any press is good press.
Yeah,
And
but yeah, still, like, have you noticed anything? Have you like not thinking about this and knowing this is an actual thing, and that you and me went crazy whenever we were talking about this? I, for one, say Chili's molten lava chocolate cake is definitely one that's been happening too. Now we can't prove that
absolutely.
because we can't go be like, oh hey, let's go find a old molten lava chocolate cake from like 5 years ago in the fridge. We can't do that.
Ate
But I
them.
swear to God, that's one of them.
Oh, I'm sure. I guarantee you someone has proof. I have 100% in my mind committed that it has changed. And I know that I am right. 100%. We've ate them too many times. And you got to trust your gut feeling. Your gut feeling's right a lot of the time. And
Uh,
so that's changed. But yeah, we can actually fight this. You know, I'm not saying, I mean, this is out of the two evils. I mean, it'd be nice if they were just honest about it. But out of the two evils, either the same size raise prices or smaller and less, and they keep the same price. It kind of sucks not knowing that it feels like you're being taken advantage of because they don't tell you.
I mean,
They
you
just,
basically are, and a lot of the time, like what the Nestle egg thing did, is they just basically did some BS to cover their ass.
yeah. And so, I mean, I
Like,
think just the way to come about it is, I mean, truth about it, being honest about it. And the thing is, if we all, like, I'm not trying to be like, start a strike. Yeah. I mean, but if, for instance, they did something like that to, Doritos, they were like, how about twice as much air and half as much chips? If everyone
uh,
quit buying Doritos, you
I
bet
actually,
your ass they will
I actually think he did
change.
a video about Doritos, if I remember correctly.
I think there's something a thumbnail about it. I'm not really sure. I'm sure he did. He's got a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
But like literally, so if everyone was like realize Doritos is half as much chip in the bag all of a sudden, everyone would stop buying them because they're like, this is ridiculous. It's still $5 and I'm paying for half as much chips. No, everybody quits buying it. You are for sure that they're going to change because they have a company to run. People stop buying the chips. They don't have a company anymore.
he actually did mention Doritos did something like that. It's like went from like 0.8, like 22.8 to 22.3 or something
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
like 4 or 6 chips less or something. But a million bags. That's that's cost cutting it down right there.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's like, and also here's one thing. I think he did mention this. He did mention like how some companies have said that it's go because of the current way the market is, so we have to do this, and then they wait a couple of years, but they never change the price back to normal because
Yeah.
people just got accustomed to doing that. Now I'm gonna go off on a little. Talking about food and all that, go off to a little bit of a little bit of a. It doesn't matter which way I do it. A little bit of a side tangent. I was watching them actually do the podcast called Absolute Comics. I was watching them do the podcast live, and they got off on a side tangent where the guy south from New Jersey, he mentioned how on the railroad, on the not the railroads, the tollways over there, they said, hey, so apparently it used to be 25 cents like about 10 years ago, and they were like, oh hey, we're gonna upgrade and fix the roads and all that on the tollway, but in order to do that and cover costs for that, we're gonna need to increase it from 25 cents to $1.25.
Oh
And
wow.
everybody was like, okay, I'll take that if it means improving the roads and all that and getting the roads and all that up to date and all that. Which I mean, like, yeah, especially when they said it would be like X amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
People got accustomed to that paying that much, and it's still to this day, from what he said, the prices are still the same and they never went back down.
But did they fix it?
I
And they
think
left it. They
I
fix
think
it.
so. I
Yeah.
think they fixed. I don't know if they fixed. I can remember him saying that, but I do remember him saying they're still that same price to this day.
Hmm.
And I'm
Okay.
and they even said, "Let's go. Yeah, we'll change the prices back down later." Never happened
Mm-hmm.
because everybody got accustomed to it. Because yeah, everybody's gonna complain and bitch about it in the beginning, but give it 3 months, give it a year. You're not gonna be noticing it. You're just gonna be doing it automatically, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, you just get used to the new norm. You adapt.
And now
So.
this is what I want to take the side tangent too, real fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people have been saying stuff has been going up and all that, like some food, especially in Texas, because of some stuff the governor's doing. It's
Yeah.
kind of making food go up, and gas, the housing, and all that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
minus the housing, because everybody's predicting a housing crash sometime soon. I'm like, if it happens, that'd be awesome. People our age can finally actually afford a house.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, just gonna have to wait longer to get a house.
Yeah. That's terrible.
But here's
So.
the thing: I feel like that one of the things that's gonna happen too is gas. Like everybody's complaining about it. Everybody was still complaining about how the gas prices has gone up and all that. Like, people like they don't typically do the research to see what the problem is, or like why gas is going up. Main reason we're seeing it from my research and all that, it's basically production delays because of COVID finally hitting us on gasoline and turning it from
Mm-hmm.
crude oil to gasoline.
Okay.
But I've seen everybody mention the pipeline. I can't remember what it's called, the XL pipeline or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody blaming that. Everybody blaming the president. Everybody blaming the war in Russia. I'm like, the pipeline, when it got canceled and shut off, it was at most like 10% being 10% completed. It wasn't like fully running or anything. It wasn't. I don't even know if they were even starting building it. If at most it was 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's no way that can be affecting us, if at all, because it wasn't even fully up and operational yet. And it was only a section of the massive pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be affecting us. People saying the war in Russia, I'm like, we get like America's top importer of gasoline or crude oil isn't Russia. It's our neighbor upstairs, Canada.
Okay.
So we're not getting that. Like, I think Russia's like 8th or 10th of us getting our oil. We don't get that much from Russia. We get a lot from everywhere else.
Okay.
But like, I'm just saying, like, everybody's putting blame at a lot of stuff instead of just like, actually be like, oh, hey, what's the actual reason? I feel like give it a year or two. If the prices don't naturally come down, what's going to happen is we're going to live with it. We're going to stop complaining. We're going to be paying the prices. And I was talking to a friend about this, and I'm like, we need our cars to go from places to places. I feel like this may happen to us where we just like get accustomed to it and just stop paying the prices outright.
That may come. It may come to that point. Like, it doesn't make sense that that's happening now. If we're not like about to run out of gas as a world, but
And do you think the companies want? No, the gas companies, they want to make the money, and if people they just say, everybody stop complaining on social media, they're okay with these gas prices, or they're living with it. And they were blaming everything else. Let's just back off.
Yeah.
Let's not mention, hey, we can do oil cheaper now and all that. At least here in the States, like, I read somewhere like they were shutting off a crude oil pipeline. Russia was to Poland and Bulgaria. So they're going to get affected by that, but not as much as we would. Because that line goes straight to them, not to us.
Yeah. Because if we're not getting, that much between each other, well, then it's not gonna do that much to us.
Yeah. If Canada one day was like, oh hey, we're not gonna give you any more crude oil, America, then we're SOL'd. Because they're our top producer by a long shot.
Right. So that's good. See, I didn't even know that. That's cool, especially because they're so close to us. We're always gonna have a good relationship with Canada.
I also did notice somebody said, "Oh, we need to be energy efficient again." I'm like, when have we ever been energy efficient? We have always imported stuff from other countries, and I've never been an energy efficient or energy producing country, as much as we want to.
At some point, maybe, but yeah, if we were, we wouldn't have so much. We wouldn't complain and talk about this stuff so much.
Oh no, yeah.
We'd be real proud about that.
Like this can be a whole other rant of how we can become one. But what do you think? Do you think if we don't see gas prices down, it's because we got accustomed to paying whatever it is in your state. For us, it's like $3 or $4 right now.
It's $4 right now.
Yeah, I think right here it's like 350, 3. I don't know. I haven't got a gas in like a couple of days.
It just came back up for us over here in Austin.
Oof. So do you think, like, if this stays like this, and like, because I don't know about you, I haven't seen that many people complaining since the beginning of the year. Maybe in like a meme every now and then, or a rant every now and then, but from like January, December to right now, it has died down a lot. At least I feel like it. I haven't seen that much complaining.
Yeah, I mean, it starts, obviously, everyone's really upset as soon as something happens, but, then they stop complaining slowly because it was just like, they hate it, but, you can only yell about it every day. I mean, it's kind of part of a problem with some other things, like, oh, just adapt. We're not everything you should just adapt to, but yeah, you hadn't heard about it this much. Every time I fill up, you hear me complain, though. I don't have to get gas every week.
You also have a truck, though. Thankfully, I don't.
My girlfriend filled up. She don't have a truck, and it was $70 for her.
Woof. I think the most I've ever done is 50 now.
I don't get how she spent 70. I'm kind of confused because mine's like only 85, but still, maybe she actually put premium in there or something.
She drives a sports car, doesn't she?
Dodge Charger.
I think that's classified as a sports car. So maybe she does put premium, and maybe that's why I put regular in mine, and it's like about 50.
Pretty sure I put regular in hers when I fill hers up too.
Because I know, I don't know if this is, but they always say you're supposed to put X amount on stolen cars. Because I remember my dad said, "Hey Brandon, when you drive the Jaguar, only put premium." And I accidentally put it in regular one time. He said, "Oh, just don't do that often. It's bad for the engine." I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's minimum and then there's recommended.
Yeah.
And some of them say don't go below mid-grade.
Yeah. I remember his truck used to only take unlead, the cheapest one.
Yeah, my truck is recommended just unleaded. I can put E85 in it.
Isn't that diesel?
No,
that's not diesel. That's not diesel.
That's
what am
that
I thinking?
Other shit that I don't know the specifics of it, but it burns way faster.
Yeah.
And but I can put that in it too.
So do you think that could happen to us? Like, we're like, oh, like in 2 years, the gas price, let's say 5 years, gas prices are still the same they are now, but we're just all living with it. Do you think that could happen?
It already has happened. Gas used to be 15 cents.
Okay, but that was back in whenever our parents were kids.
What's different? It's too late now.
The cheapest we've ever lived was
$1.50, $1.23. I think I can remember $1.23.
I can't remember exactly. It was like the winter of our junior or senior year of high school.
God, and see, here's the problem. It's not even been that many years, and it went up like 400%.
I was gonna say about probably 350%, 400, but I mean, yeah, you're in the ballpark.
It's just a really quick grab number, but I mean, think about that. It was like $1.30, and that was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And
I remember on the clips, I was so close to just filling up with $20.
I filled up with 40 in a truck.
Let's see,
$40, man.
Whenever I got my car, I think gas was up from that, but like it was like maybe $2 or something. I can't remember. And it cost me about 40 to 45 in my car. Now it's like about 50.
Yeah. It's already too late, man. Like it's gonna. Well, I mean, everything's gonna rise because of inflation, but this price, it's eventually gonna be the norm. It could go. Ideally, it goes back down. It chills out a little bit. Around $3. Lower the better, but I'm just saying $3 would be really nice. But eventually, at some point, this is going to be the new normal price.
But then again, we also have seen this happen once before in history. Not to this amount, but probably including inflation. It's probably this amount or later. Was during the gas crisis in the 70s or 80s. I can't remember. There was pictures in our textbooks that the gas was like, the gas pumps had lines and lines of them because of the Gulf War or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. There was a hurricane one time that came through, like Katrina or something, and it was coming. There was gas stations running out of gas. There was lines. We had to get line at a gas station for like a half hour to get
Wait,
gas.
Katrina wasn't us. Katrina was Louisiana.
Well, we didn't get hit by it, but we were going to Florida or away from
Oh,
it with me and my
okay.
parents. And we had to wait in line for a long time to get gas. So we got gas, but literally gas stations were running out of gas. And we got lucky to get gas because we had to drive home. So
Oof.
that was good news. But yeah, that's crazy.
No, yeah, but like, I think it's crazy that this basically proves like what you and me have talked. Because I know you and me have talked about this a bunch. That, oh hey, this seems smaller than when we were kids, and now we're not just thinking it's just us. There's
Yeah.
fucking proof.
Mm-hmm. There's proof. There's plenty of people who found it. So it's neat to at least know the truth about everything in
And at
terms
least
of
to
this
know there's
stuff.
people trying to fight this and then let
Mhm.
the truth come out.
Yeah, people are just not even really fighting it. They're just informing the consumer, so the
Yeah,
consumer can make an informed decision, which is pretty much what the free market's about. In the States,
yeah.
about being an informed consumer to make your own decision.
Now I got one question. Do you think if we weren't using our system and we're using stuff like Lidos and all that, do you think it'll be difficult for the companies in the States to do that or harder?
If it were using liters instead of our units of measurement,
Yeah, like Lidos and all that stuff.
well,
Cause see,
I mean,
like
it's
you,
just a different numbers. It's still the same concept.
because this is the reason that's making me think of this. Because like in a lot of other countries like Mexico, and I wish we did the sale. They sell bottles of water and Lidos. I'm gonna use a bottle of water as an example.
Okay.
1 liter is 1 liter. Over here, it's like, hold on. Actually, do you have another water bottle right over there? Hold on, give me one
Okay.
second.
It's just you and me. Oh, he's back. You got a liter bottle?
Okay, the reason I say this is because the way we package water, sodas, liquids, and all that, it's like stuff like this. This bottle of water
16.9
is
fluid ounces.
16.9 fluid ounces.
Mm-hmm.
They can do something like change to 16.6.
7. We're not even gonna notice.
Yes.
Versus
but,
1 liter is 1 liter, and they put 1 liter on the bottles and
yeah,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Is like that's dude, because I
That's a good
if
point.
anybody's from any international stuff, tell us like how you guys do the measurements and all that. Because we do stuff like 16.7, 16.9, like we do it like a dot number at the end of stuff.
Yeah.
And that is more easy to change over time than 1 liter of something.
Yeah. So that's a good point, because once you're not a leader, you're not 1.0, you're something else. So that's really hard to hide that.
Oh, can we at least change these to like not being point something?
Too late. Already in it. I guarantee you they used to be 0.0, like 17 ounces or something. I bet you they used to be. Not no more. I'm sure they used to be, because, I mean, it's just simple.
Yeah, because because I don't know, that's the one thing I was, because I noticed a lot of stuff. It's like point something over here. I don't know how much it is over there. I just remember buying liters of water in the convenience stores in Mexico, and actually like those because they're bigger. You don't have to get as many.
Mm-hmm.
But like doing stuff like this, point something, it's more easy for them to change it over time than just a whole number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, all the different units on the Wikipedia page here, stuff started at, 200 grams, went to 170. It started at 100, went to 88. Started at 200 grams, went to 170. That's another one. Started at 8 ounces, which is a real, easy number right there, half a pound, right? It went to 6 ounces. And so that's an example. I mean, because with 300 grams to 270. So they started at these picture perfect numbers, and and then they changed it, like 500 grams to 400 grams, and so they were at these easy numbers, like, well, let's just make it this, like, because they're coming up with stuff they don't have. I'm assuming, like, why does it need to be 475? Just make it 500, easy to do. And then all this stuff happens later on, and they start shrinking stuff. 300 grams from some raisins to 270 grams, 300 to 280 on another thing.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense. Like if you're saying I want to make ice cream, you're probably gonna make like half gallons of ice cream, because it's a half gallon. I mean, that's what like Bluebell does,
Yeah.
and then make you a half gallon. And so, and then just like, because on here it also talks about ice cream, like Haagen-Dazs, 16 fluid ounces, or changed to 14 fluid ounces.
You
And
know, I would love for. I'm thinking of doing this. Let's see if we can try to do a year-long project on this and see if we notice any differences in some products we buy on a semi-regular basis by taking
yeah,
photos and videos.
it's an idea. Um, I was about to say it would be hard to know. I mean, when you buy so much stuff, that's the thing about this. It's so hard to notice because, like, when you live with your parents, you don't buy much.
Yeah.
But when you live by yourself, you buy everything. And
But like you can
so,
choose
so
one
many
item,
products.
something that you buy on a semi-regular basis,
Uh-huh.
just take a photo of it each time.
Yeah, could do that. See, like a gallon of milk ain't never shrank because it's a gallon of
Exactly, that's what I mean.
milk.
But like water bottles, you never know how much this is. Have you ever paid attention to the fluid ounces on this?
Only when I was really young. I don't look at them. I mean, I don't even buy water bottles now, but still, not really.
But that's like, a prime example of what a lot of people buy.
But like, Dr. Pepper's in the bottles, I used to look at them at some stores versus other stores, and I'd see them. And some stores, they're 16.9 fluid ounces, which are the fatter ones, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then other stores have the smaller ones that are slightly skinnier, but then like gas stations and stuff versus like a grocery store. And it's honestly probably the same price too.
Man, well, like, okay, you guys, do you got anything more to say? Because I feel like I went through everything. I feel like you've gone into everything. Unless you have something to say.
No, if you don't like where this is going, I mean, it's hard for us to really stop it. Besides, just have people be honest. You gotta join the train and you gotta talk about it on. So you make your word known because nobody's gonna know if you don't try to tell other people.
Yeah, like I like this that because this definitely conforms that what you and me have talked about, it was not crazy. It actually is happening.
Mm-hmm. It's it. We made it. Now we know.
Yep. All right, you guys. Listen, if you guys have noticed this, if you guys thought you were just crazy and like everything was still the same, or did we just shed a new light on you, be like saying, "I knew I wasn't crazy."
Mm-hmm. Well, come and check us out on Instagram. See us at For the Long Haul Podcast. If you like our latest post on there, give us a follow, all that good jazz. And then if you want to send us an email, sponsorship information, or if that's just how you like to communicate, ftlhpodcast@gmail.com. Just like For the Long Haul, ftlhpodcast@gmail.com.
And don't forget, we are now also on. Hold on. Actually, I haven't done. I should have done this before. Hold on.
Holding. YouTube For the Long Haul Podcast.
Hold on. I messed that up.
Podcast.
There we go.
YouTube For the Long Haul Podcast.
I'm gonna include that because that was a nice mistake I didn't even realize.
We spell things correctly so you can find them.
Okay, but how honestly do I spell stuff correctly?
How honestly?
How often?
As good as you can talk. I can't spell stuff correctly, anyways. Honestly, that's not my thing. I don't know how to spell. My phone does autocorrect.
That has spoiled me so much.
No matter what we do, we send emails on. It's gonna autocorrect the stuff for us.
Unless you use Google Docs. Google Docs doesn't do it automatically like Word does.
It doesn't switch it, but it tells you about it.
Yeah.
After 3 words, it'll do it or something. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm doing just fine without it. People think you're real smart till you can't spell something silly. You're like, not my problem, I guess.
All right. Until the next time, you guys have a good one.
See you later.